friends, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. This is Kathy, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to our Friday live stream. And I'm super excited for our new series for the month of September. So I just want to make sure you guys can hear me all right. Audio's good. Okay. All right. Let me just go ahead and go to the comment section, making sure everybody can hear me. Hi, John's Kitchen. Thank you so much for logging in. I appreciate your time. All right. So if you are new to my channel, I cover Harry Potter stuff, lifestyle vlogs, and nursing stuff. And I do a lot of stuff, right? And the newest thing right now is our Friday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time live stream. And I'm super excited. I think I'm doing a whole lot every week, but I'm just enjoying YouTube and the opportunity that YouTube has to offer to all of our content creators out there. So for this month, for our series for the month of September, it's all about how to make marriage work, right? So I'm so excited. Our theme of tonight is mostly on communication. Let me see if I can do this. This is so exciting. This is live StreamYard. It's a cool what do you call this? A system process for live stream YouTubers or content creators. This is so cool. I've got that banner going on at the bottom of it. So let me go ahead and go back to the comment section. There you go. All right. So pardon me if there's going to be a little bit of delay because I'm still working on this system. I do have a quick PowerPoint presentation, just a little keywords that we're going to be talking about. I do want to give you guys a disclaimer that I am not a marriage counselor. I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that because I'm a registered nurse. The topic that we're going to be discussing for tonight and also for the whole month of September is based on my expertise as from my experience, and all opinions are my own. So I'm excited to hear from you. I know some of the things that we're probably going to be talking about, you may not agree, and that is okay. And that's why we're having this live stream, so we can communicate and we can talk and we can exchange, opinions about it. So I just want to give you guys that disclaimer out there. So don't think that I'm the expert. You don't have to listen to the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you, but I hope that you will find the tips informational and something that you can pull and modify and see if you can work that out in your relationship. All right, so let's move on to what I have over here. I think it's a quick. Let me see if I can do this. All right, just bear with me. I'm going to try to share my okay, I hope it goes to the very top. There you go. Okay. All right. So now I'm kind of cut off. I can't see my face, but I hope you guys can see that. All right. So like I said, our series for this month is how to make marriage work. So I do want to, okay, let me see if I can move on to the next slide. Oh, there you go. Okay. So on an average, this is pre-COVID kind of. On an average, a couple spends about 2.5 hours a day together. And that's like talking time, having that quality time at home. If you even call it quality, okay, in an average is what Google is telling me. So in that 2.5 hours on a day, that includes, getting home, fixing dinner, washing the dishes, cleaning up, getting the kids ready, and then going to bed. It's really not a whole lot of time, right? It's 2.5 hours. If you think about it, you work from 8 to 5, travel time and things like that. So it is crazy. I don't know. Oh, excuse me. Let me drink some water real quick. So it is crazy. Just 2.5 hours of your time in a day, I think is not enough for me. However, a lot of couples are used to that. And this is on an average. It doesn't apply to everybody, but on an average, this is what they kind of came up with. Now, with our situation with COVID, we have people that got furloughed or maybe got laid off, or are doing home officing, like I do quite a bit of home officing right now because of COVID situation, then that average time of you spend with your spouse has increased, right? So we're talking about now you're spending time or you're together for about 10, anywhere from 8, 10, 12 hours a day. That's a lot of time, and that can create stress because you don't know what to talk about. You don't know how to behave, how to move with your spouse with you all day long. What do you guys need to talk about? There's really no commonality, right? So it can become stressful. So tonight we're going to be talking about my top 5 tips on how to improve communication and how to improve your relationship with your spouse based on the average number of hours in a day that you get to spend with them. And like I said, this is my top 5, and you may have a top 5 or top 10. So go ahead and put it on the comment section. Later in our session, we will go back and look at some of the questions that you may have. Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about this. This is from Google too. Thank you, Oprah. 20 years into marriage. This is pre-COVID. The average couple talks for 21 minutes of the hour, I guess, and that's in a day, I guess. And 30 years in conversation takes up to 16 minutes. This is an interesting study, right? And by 50 years of marital bliss, the average couple converses for 3 minutes in an hour. That is crazy. That's about 150 words or less in an entire meal. That is crazy. So with COVID, this might be our current situation right now that you might see in a common household. There's just no interaction, especially talking about, social media and electronic devices, right? It's just crazy. You've got the wife here and the husband on the other side, and both of you are on electronic device, which is really not giving you that, quality time to really have that good conversation and talk about life, love, and marriage, right? So number 5, stop the gossip. What does that mean? Okay. So if you are still working in a traditional working environment, we're talking about, you go to work, you spend 8 hours a day at work, and you're there gossiping, talking about your spouse, talking to your coworkers about your spouse. Can't believe he did this, or I can't believe she did this. Can you believe that? Blah, 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 blah. I call that gossiping. Business, like personal business, shouldn't really be, to my opinion, it shouldn't really be discussed in a work environment. And I can tell you, when I used to work in some type of a similar work environment like that, I used to work at a call center. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I used to work at a call center before my nursing career. And so we have those headsets, and then we work in a pod. For those of you that work in a similar situation like that, you can relate to that one. So we have a pod, and there's like about 5 or 6 of us there sitting together. So in between our calls, we would be like gossiping to one another. Like, this one's partner did this, and you can't believe that this partner did that. What do you think about, my husband's friends and my wife's friends and things like that? So that needs to stop. To my opinion, you shouldn't be talking negatively about your spouse. If it's a positive thing, by all means, go ahead and take that pride and boast about the positive things that happen in your personal life as much as you can. I'm not telling you to go ahead and, just blur out everything there. But if it's a negative thing, if it's a negative situation that happened at home, please, let's not talk about those negative things with your coworkers, people that you spend 8 hours a day with. We don't need to do that. And I'll tell you at the end of our session, when we go down to top number 3 or 2, why we don't need to gossip about our relationship when we are at work. Okay, what about social media? If you're not working in a traditional work environment like that, and you're home officing, or you're mostly at home or whatnot, what about social media? Okay, texting your friends, emailing your friends, private message or direct message to your friends. I see a lot of social media postings like on Facebook, and they rant about their spouse. I don't know if it's a spouse or a friend or somebody. They rant about it. They made Facebook, or I'm not sure about Instagram, but I know Facebook, they made Facebook into their daily diary, where they pour out everything. I'm not a supporter of that because, I'm kind of a private person in some way or manner, but I will not support that. I wouldn't recommend that you do that. There's a way that you can communicate with your spouse. If you don't like things, or you didn't like what he or she said, there's a way to fix that. You just need to be open, because marriage is a partnership, right? All right. So, go ahead and put on the comment section if you know somebody that does this, or is this something that that helps you, by you posting in the social media or texting. Go ahead and put that on the comment section. I just kind of want to hear what you guys do and what you guys are really doing out there, aside from my opinion, right? If you are watching this on a replay, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you, and I will respond to you as soon as possible. Okay, so what else? All right, I think there's that. Now, tip number 4, asking for help. Ask for help. What does that mean? What does that mean, asking for help? Let me go ahead and do this so we can. All right, let me check. All right, so what does that mean? Ask for help. So if we're talking about, your spouse, your husband and wife, and I don't want to be too much, I may be a little bit biased. I hope not, because I'm a wife. So I may be talking more about from the wife's point of view, right? Hi, Jezebel. Thank you for logging in. So I may be talking about more from the wife's standpoint. So asking for help. These are some of the examples that I've gone through. It's just that, sometimes my husband might have, a hard time asking for help. For example, driving on the road, driving, and, you don't want to ask for the direction, or call that person wherever we're going, call that person and ask them, hey, is this the right thing? Is this the right direction? I know we have GPS now, but I think I want to say it was in the olden days when we didn't used to have GPS. It was just, we were getting lost going somewhere. But I don't know what's up with men and asking for directions, but it's okay, right? So on a deeper level, okay, so let me tell you something. Since I'm doing home officing, right? So we need to be open and communicating with our spouses, even with the little things, okay? I'm going to tell you, I do home office, lunch. I have like back-to-back calls, morning and afternoon, noon to 1 o'clock should be my window for fixing lunch, right? But there are some situations where it's already 12:50 and I only have like 10 minutes and I'm going on the next call, on the next Zoom call at work. And I'm talking about either I'm hosting that call or I need to be an active participant. So I need to be focusing. I cannot just click off or turn off the audio and turn off the camera. I have to be there. And so in my head, I'm stressing out. Okay, we just finished dinner, or we just finished lunch. I'm sorry. And I'm supposed to be cleaning the kitchen, but I can't because I have a Zoom call at 1 o'clock. And I am kind of embarrassed to ask my husband to go wash the dishes, right? So there are times where I would say, babe, just go ahead and leave it out in the kitchen. I'll go ahead and wash it. And then come 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the dishes are still there because it hasn't been washed, right? But if you know that you're not really going to be able to make it, it's okay to ask. I should be able to ask my husband, babe, I'm really super busy this afternoon. Is it okay if you go ahead and wash the dishes? 9 out of 10, it's really fine. And then there's this 1%, right? Maybe let's just say 10 out of 10. It's really fine. As long as you communicate that in a respectful way, and that you've communicated well enough the reason why I'm stressing out because I need to wash dishes and I can't. And is it okay if you do it? What are some of the other things? Maybe for the husbands, if you feel like you're doing a lot of yard work, it's okay to ask your wives. It's okay to ask your wife that, hey, babe, can you, darling, sweetie, whatever you call your spouse, can you help me, or let's go ahead and do this together? I think that bonding quality time is going to be good, and that way you guys can do things together. And so it is okay to ask. I don't see any reason why we have, it's just sometimes pride comes along and you're like, I don't want to do this because you should know, taking out the trash. I mean, our trash days is like Wednesdays and Saturdays. Taking out the trash. Why can't you ask? Or why do you have to ask? You know that it's trash day tomorrow, so you should be taking out the trash. Well, babe, can you go ahead and do it? Sometimes you may think that, you should already know that it's trash day tomorrow and you should be taking the trash out, right? So I don't have to tell you. But if they forget, if your husband forgets to take out the trash, it's okay to ask, babe, don't forget, tomorrow's the trash day. Or if your husband's busy and they're not able to do that, it's okay to ask the wives, babe, can you go ahead and take it out because I'm going to be late coming home today from work or whatever is going on. It should be okay. Right? Okay, let's go on to tip number 3. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen again. This is so exciting. All right, let me go here. Okay, hang on, friends. All right, let me go here. This is a big one. Learn to say, I'm sorry. This is tough. Let me know if this is something that's in your lingo. If not, let me know too. This is so hard to say. I guess it's easy to say it out loud, but it's hard to make it meaningful. You can say, well, I'm really sorry, but you always have the buts, right? You're always defending yourself. Whatever situation it may be, you should learn. And I know I have my faults too, but let me double check, make sure I'm over here. We should be able to learn, and I'm including myself now because I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect wife. We should be able to learn how to say, I'm sorry, sincerely, right? Because we're just humans and we're not perfect. It's easier to give in than to resist. I'm going to tell you, there were times in my, let me back up a little bit. I have been married for 19 years, by the way, turning 20 next year, with 2 kids. So it's our first marriage for both my husband and I got married really young. So I forgot to tell that to everybody in the beginning, but so there were times where, oh my gosh, in the early first 5 years of our marriage, I would say, whenever we argue, I'm talking about argue, and it would take hours and hours. Oh my goodness, hours of me crying and just not talking, not in a good mood. And at the end of the day, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. I cried a lot. I'm thirsty. I didn't eat because I wasn't in a good mood. And I wasted a lot of hours of unproductive hours, right? So I think by the 5th and 10th year, or maybe 10th, 11th to 15th year, oh my gosh, it's such a long time, right? I think we came to just an agreement that let's go ahead and talk it out. What is really going on? Acknowledging each other's feelings, right? What's really going on? What's happening? Why are you upset? Where is that emotion coming from? And let's debunk and go deeper. It's going to take a lot of, you really need to be transparent. It's going to take a lot of practice. And sometimes your pride, your frustration will be your wall, and you can't get through it and you can't express what's going on in your heart and what's going on in your mind, right? And it becomes your protective barrier because you don't want to open up. But you have to learn how to open up, and that way you can communicate and get through the nitty-gritty of what is really going on, right? Okay, so I did say acknowledging the mistake. So what are some of the examples of that? I'm thinking oh my gosh, some of our arguments nowadays are so petty. Water, or I don't know, pick up your tissue. I have allergies, so I have like tissue boxes everywhere and Kleenex, right? So pick up your tissues and put it in the trash can, things like that. So it would look like you've been stressed out all day. Not really stressed out. I would say you've been working, like mentally and physically. You might be kind of worked up, for the day because of work. And then at the end of the day, you have your spouse with you, and now it's just, you just want to have a quiet night, right? And then it's cluttered, right? And you get upset, you get frustrated. So, but truthfully, you weren't upset because of the clutter. It's really because you had so many things going on, from the beginning of the day. You've dealt with, clients, and for me, residents, patients, family members, or whatnot. I dealt with those situations. And now at the end of the day, I just really want to relax, and I can't, So you need to be able to communicate that and acknowledge that, I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. I really didn't mean it. I was just frustrated at work. Something's going on at work. But let's go ahead and move forward. Next time I'm not going to go ahead and do that. Or next time I'll make sure that maybe I take a 10-minute or 15-minute break, me time alone in the bedroom or at the backyard, get some steam off before we reconnect together tonight, right? So there are some situations that you can do it that way. I don't know what works for you guys. So go ahead and let me know in the chat, and I'll go back to the chat section later on. It's really, and like I said, this is really just an open conversation for everybody, and I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear what works for you guys. All right, so that is tip number 3. Okay, all right, so let's go to tip number 2. Ooh, we are always there on the countdown to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So tip number 2, let's go ahead and pull that up, and saying thank you. Tell your spouse thank you every day, okay? Is that so hard? Have you done that? Have you done that at home? Have you literally told your spouse, your wife, or your husband, hey babe, hey darling, hey sweetheart, thank you so much for taking the trash out, or thank you for washing the dishes, or thank you for taking care of the kids, or thank you for dealing with whoever, whatever. Have you really done that? Is it hard? Like I said, it's easier to give in doing the good deeds, and it's easier to just give in into the positivity than resisting with all your buts and ifs and I'm not going to do that, and all the attitude and pride that you have built in. It's so much easier to give in, right? So what are some of the examples? I mean, what are some of the things that you've told your spouse thank you about? Little things, right? Little things and big things. It makes a difference. Gratitude is very important. I'm going to tell you personally, is this our tip number 2? I think so, right? I should have put the numbers on. Yeah, it is a tip number 2. Oh my gosh, we're down to just tip number 1. I'm going to tell you, that, there is I don't know if you guys have read this. There's a book by Chad. Oh my gosh, what is his name? Gary Chapman. Okay, his book is about the 5 love languages. I'm not promoting his, well, I am promoting his book, but this is not sponsored. But if you get a chance, you can Google it up. It's the 5 love languages, and it kind of breaks it down. It gives terms on some of the love languages. But for me, part of having the gratitude towards, being blessed with a good husband, is, having that, not only just verbally saying thank you, but also having that physical touch. I love hugs and kisses, just to let you guys know. And I think women loves that, we love the touch, and so if you go back to that book, it'll kind of tell you, what is your love language? For me, it's more of a physical touch, the verbal affirmation that you love me, and just you matter to me. I don't really care about material things. I don't like expensive gifts. Maybe you guys do. Let me know in the comment section. Maybe it makes you happy and it makes you smile that your spouse thought about you, and now you have, a cute gift from your spouse. But for me, not so much. the most important thing for me is having that good quality time, being told that he loves me and having those moments of hugs. So how many times in a day do we say I love you? Do we say thank you? um, I would say maybe, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 10 times a day. Hugs and kisses are a bit more than that. And so it's just really, it gives you a bit more of affirmation. So if you haven't been doing that, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe tonight is the night. Maybe today that you're watching this video, if you're watching on the replay, it is probably the day that, someone's knocking in your heart. You know what? I haven't been doing that. We haven't been doing that. Maybe we should try. Just try baby steps, small steps, and see if it's going to make a difference. I'm sure it will. I guarantee you that it will. But you just got to try. Again, it's easier to give in than to resist, right? Okay. So, all right. So there's that. And we are going on my top number one, the number one tip. And let me go ahead and share the screen again. This is so awesome. And then we're going to go to the comments on the side. And if there's any questions. All right. Always be in love. This is me and my husband. And, this is my number one tip for communicating. It speaks volume. Always be in love. 19 years of marriage. And are we still in love? Yeah. Yes. I would say yes. All right. So what does that mean? What does that look like? Always being in love. Okay. So I did mention about saying I love you. Saying I love you in the morning. I'm gonna give you what we do. This is our routine. Saying I love you in the morning. So we wake up in the morning, we do our morning prayer, and then after that, we do that together. My husband leads that, and then we kiss, and then we say I love you. Okay. When we go to work, because I do home office, but I still have to go out, from time to time, and whenever he meets clients too. So whenever we leave the house, we always have to say, I love you, and we kiss. So, and then that's the same thing when we come back to the house, and then at night as well. So I would say, I don't know, maybe 3 or 5 times that you have in a day that you're saying I love you to one another, giving that affirmation. It just makes me feel good. I'm sure my husband, feels good about that too. It's so inexpensive. It's free, right? It's really just giving out your feelings about it, just that you're giving affirmation to your spouse. So, and I'm going to tell you that you have to be grateful every day that you wake up in the morning, that this is what you have. This is what's been given to you. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing, and it cannot be replaced by anything. And with that gratitude that you have, that you were blessed with what you have right now, should come along the gratitude that you have a spouse, a partner. You guys are just not housemates. You guys are not just roommates. You guys are not just co-parenting. You are each other's halves to be together. Okay. So in all honesty, I've had, my past experience with, when I grew up, or whenever I was growing up, what I have right now is not what it was when I grew up. Okay. And that is okay. If you didn't come from a family that has all these, systems or processes in place, I'm talking like I'm at work right now, right? It's okay. And this is why you have your own family right now. And it's an opportunity for you to build your own family with the way you wanted it to be. I'm going to tell you that you're not going to get advices on how to do relationship on movies. Okay. Movies are movies. Maybe some of them are good, but you don't have to take it by the grain of salt. Okay. You have to go to other references. Like we go to church, and we get a lot of, advices on how to work your marriage. It is crazy amazing the help that you can get out there, not from social media, not from the movies, and not from your friends what you guys do is just gossip, for each other. So with the top 5 things, the top 5 tips that you can do for your marriage, with that, Again, going back, you don't need to gossip with your friends. You don't need to do social media posting. You don't need to do texting or emailing or whatnot, because you know what to do in your 10 to 16 hours of a day that you're spending with your spouse. You know what to do. You know how to communicate. You know how to give each other, affection, affirmation, and you would know what to do with your time. You don't need to resource that and go to other places. Okay. I'm going to tell you one of the things that I disapprove of is, I think it was last year, there was a posting on Facebook. I think it's a picture about a friend, not really, just a picture of friends, like girlfriends, and it's promoting travel with your girlfriends. I guess I'm okay with that. Hi, living it up with Miriam. Thank you for logging in. So I guess it's okay to have a trip with your friends, but if you're single, that's fine, right? But what I disagree of is if you're married and you're spending your time, money with your girlfriends to going to a place of vacation without your spouse, going to a place of vacation and having that good quality time with them. I just disagree with that. I'd rather that I go to that location first with my husband and have that first memory of that place, of a good quality time spent, right? Of that place with my spouse, rather than having that memory of my first time memory of vacation for that spot with my friends. I'd rather enjoy it with my spouse. So, and like I said, that is my opinion. And I don't know what you guys think about that. You may disagree, but that doesn't work for me. I love a lot of firsts with my husband. First time going here, first time doing this, first time buying this. I'd rather share that with my husband, because your BFF, your best friend forever, should be your spouse. My best friend is my husband, and I know that I am his best friend too. You have to be each other's best friends. And for us to get to that stage is a lot of heartaches, a lot of struggles, a lot of crying hours, and a lot of tantrums. But at the end of the day, we were able to manage to communicate. Like I said, we're not perfect. We're still working on it. We're on the 20th year by next year. But it's a lot of communication, and we're able to stand each other for 10, 15, 16 hours a day. So if we go on vacation for 7 days straight together for 24/7, we're able to do it. Okay. So I hope this information is helpful to you guys. And, like I said, communication is very, very important. Okay. So dinner time for us is a family time. It's dinner time, family time, and a meeting time, like a family meeting time. It's very, very important. So, when I used to work at the hospital on the floor, you have to be working every other weekend, and the hours are so stretched out. As a nurse, either you work I think at 7 o'clock to 7 p.m. Hi, Maria. Thank you for logging in. Go ahead and put some comment on the comment section, and I'll go back to y'all's questions. We're going to feature it, so don't forget to do that. So going back to the hospital setting, I was working from 7 a 7 p, I think, and you don't literally clock off at 7 p.m. because you still have to do a lot of things, and I'm missing a lot of dinner time. And my dream is to be able to go home at night and have dinner with my family. I was able to achieve that eventually. But dinner time is very important for us. It's a time of the day for us to recap. All of us, my husband and I and my kids, it's a day for us to recap. So don't miss that. Don't miss dinner time. Okay, this is a time for you to get to know your kids, get to know what's going on at school, get to know what's going on in their virtual school, right? And also with your spouse. Don't forget that is a time for a family meeting. Turn off the TV. No one should be on electronic device. No one should be watching Netflix or anything like that. You are supposed to have a family discussion and finding out each other's feelings and things like that, right? So that is very important. So I just want to share that with you friends. So let me go back to see what else, if I'm missing anything else. I think that is it for what I have on my notes. So let me go to the comment section. I'm going to go to the comments and any questions that you may have. All right. So thank you, John's Kitchen, for supporting. Let me see. I know you have a question. Okay, this is from Jezebel, and she said, "I am a single Pringle." Well, thank you for watching, Jezebel. So here's the thing, friends. If you are single, I hope this session helps you with, and I don't know your age range, Jezebel, but I hope that this session kind of helps you in the future to kind of have a good vision of how marriage should be. If this is not what you're hearing from me is not something that you're seeing at home or anything like that, it's okay. It's really okay. And you, as a child, should be able to communicate back to your parents, and I hope we're going to have a session about raising children, but you should be able to communicate with your parents. So don't worry, Jezebel, you'll get there in due time. All right, so let's move on. John's Kitchen said, yes, I know a few people ranting about their partners on social media, and it's highly uncomfortable for me. I'm like, oh Lord. I agree, John's Kitchen. I do see those too. And whenever I see those postings, I kind of cringe. Oh my God, I can't believe you posted that on social media. There is a way for you to communicate with your spouse. Or let's just take out the marriage out of context with somebody that you're angry with, that you're ranting about, right? It doesn't have to be posted on the social media. But going back to the marriage, you don't really want to do that. I have a friend before that she would call me. Oh my gosh, this is years ago. She would call me, and she's having some marital problems. They ended up having a divorce, unfortunately, or getting a divorce. I'm sorry. That during that time that they were having the struggles and the issues before they filed for divorce, she was telling me that the way she communicates with her husband is through texting. Hey, I'm sorry. Not really. I'm sorry. That she would say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Or I'm upset with you or whatever. And she would do that via text. So I hope you don't have to come down to that one. It should really be a face-to-face conversation. It can be confronting. I understand that. But if you are able to practice effective communication from the get-go, then you should be able to resolve any issues, hopefully, later on. And that may not even result in a divorce, eventually. But, I just want to tell you guys that communication is so important. It's the same thing as you're communicating at work. You're communicating with an acquaintance, right? Respect is very, very big. Respect and communicating effectively and getting your thought process out there in a filtered, discerning manner. Okay. So it should be the same thing when you're communicating with your spouse. All right. Thank you so much. And yes, John's Kitchen did say that, yeah, it is disgraceful and also embarrassing when you see postings like that on social media. And I hope it's really not about their spouse, but that is kind of disheartening when you see things like that. You wish you can talk to that person, but not to meddle with their business, right? But I hope they're able to find a relief on how they can communicate with their spouse. Jezebel said, sounds very busy. That's right. Oh, this is a good question. Yeah. Yoo-hoo. How do you balance your busy schedule with your husband and family? Thank you so much for that question. Balancing busy schedule with husband and family has to do with, again, communication. So if I know that I'm going to be busy, or for you guys out there, for you friends out there, if you know you're going to be busy, you're not going to be able to cook, you're not going to be able to clean the house, you're not going to be able to run to the grocery store, you should be able to communicate that with your spouse and coordinate. Okay, I'm running late. Can you go ahead and do this? Or maybe find a good time where both of you can go out at the grocery store and do your errands, right? Same thing with, with raising children, who gets to do this and do that. So it's all about communication. When you communicate with your spouse, and I know I'm guilty with this, sarcasm is really not taken well. So make sure that you are not communicating in a sarcastic way. I know I have a lot to learn about that. I'm still learning after 19 years of marriage. Sarcasm, attitude, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to hit the wall if you have that sarcasm and attitude. Okay, rolling of the eyes, please don't do that. All right, so okay, so basically, Jezebel said, basically, just don't be afraid to ask for things. Absolutely. If you didn't do anything wrong, you shouldn't be afraid to ask for things, you know? So I think this was from one of my top tips is, about, asking your spouse. Like I said, if you're running, if you're supposed to be running the grocery errand and you can't do it because of time constraint, just go ahead and ask your spouse, babe, I can't do this. Is it okay if you do it if you go to the grocery store? We really need milk, we really need coffee, or whatever you have. Don't be afraid to ask that. Just make sure you're explaining your situation and that you are asking it full of love, not in a sarcastic way. Well, I'm so busy, I can't do it. Can you go ahead and do it? Not in a manner like that. And I hope I don't come across like that from time to time. I hope not. All right. So let's see. A question here. When did I get married? I got married 19 years ago. And I will tell you, I was pretty young. And I'm so glad that I'm not promoting early marriage, but I was pretty young. I think I was 21, 22. But I was blessed to be partnered with my husband right now because I grew along with him. And it took a lot of struggles and miscommunications, but we also learned together. All right. So I think that is it from all the questions and comments on the comment section. So I hope you guys find this session really, really, well, not found, right? I hope you guys found this session really, really informative and, really helpful for you. Like I said in the beginning, if you're not married, it's okay. This is some of the tips that you can use universally with anyone. Okay. And if you're looking into having a good relationship, wait a minute. If you are looking into a serious relationship, I hope you can take some pointers from this session because it helped me a lot in my relationship with my husband. And it helped us grow together. Oh, there's another question here. Let me go ahead and show this. So, and if you are, if you're single, it's okay. If you're thinking about marriage, don't be afraid to get married. It's a lot of work. And like I said, getting married is a partnership that you have to work together. Would have been the same thing if you work, if you go to, well, not really the same thing, but, the same amount of respect that you have to give to your spouse would be the same thing that you give respect to other people. Don't think that that's because he or she's your spouse now that you're married now that he just needs to accept, who I am. And this is how I am. And I'm not going to change. It's not supposed to be like that. If you refuse, again, resist is harder than giving in. You have to give in because you need to work it out. Okay, great question here. How to restore love in a failing marriage. So this is a very big question. And like I said in the beginning of our session, I'm not a marriage counselor. My experts, the tips that I shared with you, friends, are the ones that work for my marriage. And I know you guys have your own opinions too. But for me, in my own opinion, how to restore love in a failing marriage, I truly, truly believe it's all about going back to the basics of being in love and communication. A lot of the marriage, I do want to say also the financial piece, which is going to be featured in one of our sessions because it's a pretty lengthy one. There's a financial infidelity and maybe just infidelity in itself too, like if there's a third party involved in the marriage. But communication is really, really big. If you look at the financial, I'm moving the computer, sorry. If you look at the financial and the financial infidelity, what does that mean? Financial infidelity means I'm hiding money from my husband. I'm getting paid and I'm getting paid and I'm getting paid. So I'm working and I'm getting paid and this is my own money. You shouldn't know anything about the money that I put on my account, right? So, and you're hiding things. You're buying things without letting your husband know, or maybe you're helping out a family member or helping out a friend with money, sending them some money without letting your husband know. That's what it means by financial infidelity. Or maybe using up all your credit cards without your husband knowing that you're using up all the credit cards. I'm going to use my credit card because I'm the one that pays for it anyway, and it's okay not to let my husband know. That is what I would call financial infidelity. What about, just this regular infidelity, right? This is like, maybe having a third party involved. Mind you, those two things, and there might be third or fourth or fifth, aspect of those struggles, they all go down to communication. You got to be in love because that's the reason why you're married, right? But in communication is very important. If we're talking about financial infidelity, why did you not communicate that with your husband? Why? Why are you trying to hide things from your husband or from your wife? You know, why? Is it because they're not going to agree that you want to purchase like a boat or you want to purchase things? Or I know, like, for my friends in the Philippines, like, I think plants are a big thing right now, and those plants are very expensive. So you don't want to tell your husband or your wife about you purchasing a plant that's about, I don't know, maybe $1,000 worth. Maybe you don't need to, go look at your priorities at home. Maybe you don't need to buy those things, right? It's all about, it doesn't have to be about what you want. It's about what you need, right? If you don't need it, then you don't need to buy it. The same thing with having a third party involvement. Why is there a third party? That's a big question. Why is there a third party? Why is there cheating? It all comes down to communication. What is not getting processed inside your home? And why does your spouse need to go out and look for a relief, or look for somebody that can understand them? What is not happening inside the house? It all boils down to communication. I will tell you that. So failing marriage shouldn't be. It takes two to tango. And if I'm willing to work it out, so does my husband. Should be able to work it out. It doesn't happen all the time, but you have to try. All right. There's a comment here. To restore love, if the marriage isn't working, you need to trust first. Yes, I believe that's absolutely right. I believe trust is the foundation of any great long-term relationship, marriage included. Absolutely. Trusting is very, very important. Thank you so much, John's Kitchen. Trusting your spouse, even in anybody, right? Trusting is very, very big. If that has been taken away, then that comes along with all the other aspects that can come in between your marriage, right? And again, going back to trusting, why don't you not trust your husband? Is there something that, or your wife, is there something that you have in your heart and in your mind that you're not talking about, not communicating about? Because if you don't get it out there, then that boils down your trust issue, because you're not talking. You're really not talking. It's all about, well, I'm assuming this is what's going on. You don't want to listen to me. So, we're not going to work it out. Why are you doing this? And all of that is happening in your head without even talking to your spouse. Right. So again, being in the COVID era, there should be a lot of time talking to your spouse and just, understanding each other. And that should be okay. You should be able to come across with your spouse and having that conversation in a respectful, lovingly, and productive way, right? And I will tell you that every time you have that discussion with your spouse, it's good to have a discussion about your future, about your goals. It needs to be attainable. I will tell you that. Like, my husband and I were used to having like our 3-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal, right? If it's going to be allowed, if it's going to be blessed, if we're going to be blessed to have to be granted with those goals that we have in mind, right? But we have fun, just drafting our goals in the future. But if we're communicating and talking, discussing about disagreements or some of the struggles that we're in, you cannot spiral down and talking about the same things over and over again. At some point of your conversation, that hour of your conversation, you need to be able to draft a solution. Okay, how are you going to fix this? How are we going to move forward, right? That is what you need to do. You got to have that positive aspect. Move forward. What are we going to do? Because we can't be talking about the problem all night long, We got to have a solution. Okay. That solution has to be managed and combined together by both of your opinions. And it needs to be realistic, and it needs to be attainable, and it has to make sense. Whatever decision that you're making, that needs to be agreed upon by both of you. So, and it's a learning process. Even with 19 years of marriage in right now, there's a lot of things that we're getting used to, and we're getting to know each other. We just go deeper and deeper. But trust, yes, one of the number ones. I would say, like, yes, one of the number ones. I would tell you that. And being in love, you guys are just not housemates and roommates and co-parents. You have to be in love. You have to find that positivity in your husband. It can be a physical appearance, or it can be it can be a physical appearance, or it can be an attribute, an attitude. Okay. I think I forgot to mention this. Hi, Rochelle, thank you for logging in. I think I forgot to mention this. Praising your spouse is very important. Not only that you're saying thank you, but praising them. Oh, I think I did mention that. Like, thank you. Well, no. Let me go back. I'm not to confuse you guys, but praising your spouse. Okay, saying thank you is another thing. Thank you for taking out the trash. Thank you for taking care of this and that. But praising them for a behavior or an action that they have done. I'm going to give you an example. Being proud of your husband, not only just in husband or wife, and not only in front of them, but also in front of other people. Oh, that is a bingo. That's a bonus, ladies. So with my husband, I always, and I really, truly, truly mean this, because sometimes he has clients that he, has struggles, and he's having a hard time with, and he's able to resolve that, and he's able to help them out. And, I praise him for that. Good job, babe. Good job with what you did. You did the right thing for your client. There's no other way that you could have helped them out. But what you did really, it was a great job. So praise him, praise your spouse. Same thing with you husbands, praise your wives, thank you for cooking. It was a delicious meal. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for doing that. Thank you for making a decision, and yada, yada. So make sure not only that you're saying thank you, but also you're praising them. And better yet, praise them in front of other people. Oh, that's a bingo. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it just boosts their confidence. It's not just to be boastful, but showing other people that you love one another. That should be an inspiration to the people that you're surrounded with at that very, very moment, right? So I think that's what I want to add into that. So, all right. So let's see if there's any other comments there. If you have any questions, my friends, if you're watching this on replay, go ahead and put your comment on the description. Well, comment below. And I will respond to you as soon as possible. And in the beginning of this session, I did say that I am not a marriage counselor. I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that. The things that I'm sharing with you are the tips, are the things that I've used and have done and have worked in my marriage. And I'm hoping that you're able to pick up some tips and tweak it around to see how that can work in your relationship. I think one of the things that's reminding me right now is, raising your voice at home. I'm always having a hard time with that. Just raising your voice whenever you're trying to communicate. Tune it down. Just turn it down, ladies, or even with the husbands, right? Turn it down a notch. You should be able to communicate in a better tone of voice. Not, I understand you're upset. I understand you need to emphasize on something, but all of that can be communicated in a good tone of voice, a good volume, right? It doesn't have to be on a 10, maybe a 5 or a 6, in that way. I'm going to tell you, if you do that, it helps you calm down too. And it helps you with your thought process. And you should be able to communicate what you're trying to communicate better, and not in a frustration, grunting manner if you have your tone of voice higher. So let's practice on that, because I know that's always my downfall, and I need to do better with that. But let's go ahead and do that together, ladies, and husbands too. Let's do that together. Practice communicating with a good volume and tone of voice, right? Yes, and this is a good comment here. This is my very good friend, and she said, "Yes, I agree. We need to appreciate our spouses, even on simple stuff." That is absolutely correct. I absolutely support that and agree. Appreciating your spouse on the little things, right? They do matter because not really they do matter. There are other halves, so. Not so much about depending too much on them, but there are other halves. So half of us is who they are. So, or did I say that right? It's a good partnership, and when you get married, you become one. All of your decisions shouldn't just be your own decision, but your decision has been made and concluded because both of you have thought about it, have discussed, and have agreed that you are going to go ahead and do it. And that is your decision as a couple and not just you as a wife or you as a husband. All right, see what else do we have out here? I think from my notes that's it. But so anyway, it is 8:55, and I'm so happy that my friends were able to log on. And if you are watching this on a replay, don't forget to put your comment at the bottom, and I will respond to you as soon as possible. I think I said that 3 times already. Hey, friends. Next week is going to be a fun session. Again, for the month of September, we're doing the marriage matters on how to make your marriage work. So I believe next week we're going to be talking about love languages. And then we're going to do financial. And then we're also going to do basics of arguments. That's going to be fun. And I'd love to hear your opinion on those things. I may move our live stream to an hour later, 9 p.m., so I can finish off my family dinner meeting time because I'm always rushing kind of. It's 8 p.m. here in the United States. Thank you so much, my friend. Another comment here came up about helpful tips. Well, that this is a very helpful marriage tips. Thank you, Becca. I love your channel, my friend. You're so energetic. And if you have any comments, go ahead and put it on the comment section about marriage. Or you can, if you're watching this on replay, you can go ahead and put it on the comment again. Anyway, I want to go ahead and conclude our session. And if you just logged on, or if you catch this or you caught this halfway through, I cover Harry Potter stuff, lifestyle vlogs, nursing stuff, and the newest thing is live stream. The good thing about being a small YouTuber is I can connect with you guys. I don't have thousands and thousands of subscribers. I wish to get there in due time, but I'm so thankful that you guys were able to spend your night with me. And I was gonna get my coffee, I only got water, but I'm so appreciative of your time that you spent with me. And I just want to say that y'all have a great night. Take care out there, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, friends.